The superficial back line connects the entire posterior surface of the body from the plantar surface of the toe phalanges, calcaneus, gastrocnemius, condyles of the femur, hamstrings, ischial tuberosity, sacrotuberous ligament, sacrum, erectus spinae, and occipital ridge. So essentially toes to knees, knees to brow. Postural function of the SBL is to support the body in full extension and prevent the tendency to curl over into flexion. Movement function is to create extension and hyperextension, with the exception of movement at the knees and ankles, which includes flexion and plantar flexion. A stretch movement for the SBL would be the downward facing dog. Assume all fours position with the hands shoulder width and knee hip distance apart. Curl the toes underneath and lift the hips into the air. Relax the heels, chest, head, and jaw. Roll the shoulders away from the ears and press the palms flat into the mat. A way you could make this easier is to slightly bend the knees to relieve some pressure. The superficial front line connects the entire anterior surface of the body from the dorsal surface of the toe phalanges, tibial tuberosity, patellar ligament, patella, rectus femoris, anterior inferior iliac spine, pubic tubercle, rectus abdominis, fifth rib, sternocleidomastoid, and mastoid process, so toes to pelvis and pelvis to head. Postural function is to balance the superficial back line, provide tensile support from the top to lift parts of the skeleton which extend forward to the gravity. Movement function is to create flexion of the trunk and hips, extension at the knee, and dorsiflexion of the foot. A stretch movement for this line would be camel pose. Sitting tall on the shins, which should be positioned hip distance apart, place the hands on the back of the pelvis. Imagine the thigh bones moving forward and then the pelvis moving forward. Arch the back and lift the rib cage. If possible, reach the hands towards the calves and the ankles. Roll the shoulders away from the ears and lift the chin upward, allowing the jaw and head to relax. To make this movement easier, use a block and don't worry about grabbing your ankles. Progress to that motion. The lateral line provides frontal plane stability and begins at the first and fifth metatarsal bases, fibularis muscles, fibular head, anterior ligament of the head of the fibula, lateral tibial condyle, iliotibial tract, tensor fascia, gluteus maximus, iliac crest, lateral abdominal obliques, ribs, external and internal intercostals, fourth thoracic vertebra, clavicle, sternocleidomastoid, and occipital ridge. Postural function is balances the left and right activity, mediate forces occurring along other lines, and stabilizes limbs while the upper body acts. The movement function includes a lateral bend, deceleration when standing, acceleration when perpendicular to gravity, and neck, trunk, hip abduction, as well as foot eversion. A stretching motion for the lateral line would be the extended side angle pose. Stand with feet 3 to 4 feet apart, turn the right toes forward and kick the left heel out at a 45-degree angle. Lift the arms to shoulder height and bend the right knee to 90 degrees. Reach the right arm to the floor or block parallel to the shin. Reach the left arm forward, bringing the biceps above the ear. The spiral line loops around the body in a helix, joining one side of the skull across the back to the opposite shoulder, and then across the front to the same hip, knee, and foot arch, running up the back of the body to rejoin the fascia on the skull. Postural function of the spiral line wraps the body in a double spiral, maintain balance across the planes. The spiral line connects the foot arches with the pelvic angle and helps to determine knee tracking and walking with imbalances. The spiral line creates and compensates for, maintains alignment in twist, rotations, lateral shifts the body, and the spiral also participates in other lines. Movement function of the spiral line. The overall movement function of the spiral line is to create and mediate spirals and rotations in the body and to modulate strain in the arch system of the foot. A stretch that involves the spiral line would be the single leg revolved belly pose. Lie face up on the ground and place the feet on the floor. Lower the knees to the left and extend to the top right leg. With the left hand, reach for the knee or foot to hold. Position the right arm on the floor, level with the shoulder. Use a yoga strap to assist and deepen the pose if desired. Next are the functional front and back lines. These are unique from the 4 lines that we just discussed because they are rarely used in standing posture compared to what we just went over. Functional lines have strong postural stabilizing functions and positions outside of the resting standing posture, used mostly in athletic activity. Usually one complex is stabilized, contrabalanced, or powered by its contralateral compliant. For example, a pitcher for a baseball team uses the power from the left leg and hip to increase the speed of the ball thrown with the right hand. The back and front functional lines are essential for agility and precision, so they allow for powerful results. Main differences used for activity rather than standing posture.